The World Health Organization recommends mothers to exclusively breastfeed infants in the first 6 months of life to achieve optimal growth, development, and health. However, globally, only 3 in 5 babies are not breastfed in the first hour of life, while only 41% of infants under 6 months of age are exclusively breastfed. Today, we take a look at how to step up breastfeeding. Good afternoon. Welcome to Sound Health on Lagos Television. I am Olasumbo Muduke. The program continues in a moment. Please stay tuned. It is still Sound Health on Lagos Television. Join us via Zoom to tell us or to show us how to step up breastfeeding in Nigeria is Dr. Nonso Epundu, consultant pediatrician. Good evening and thanks for always staying with us, Dr. Nonso.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Epundu, how would you rate breastfeeding in Nigeria?
Well, the latest statistics we have for now shows that the inclusive breastfeeding rate is 28.7%, which is less than recommended WHO levels. We're talking about more than 80% of women to have exclusive breastfeeding their babies for 6 months. So breastfeeding in general is something that whether it's exclusive or not exclusive, is a practice that is well done in Nigeria as a whole, as a country. So women know that they want to breastfeed their baby and naturally want to do it right. But being exclusive breastfeeding is a different kettle of fish. That itself is we are still very far from where we ought to be. But then we have improved from where we were about 7-8 years ago, when we were still in the neighborhood of 40%, less than 17%, 18% or so. So now we're gotten to approaching 30%. We ought to do better than that. But I would say that, breastfeeding is something we know we ought to do in the country, and women ought understand that, but there's a lot of work still to be done in encouraging them to do the right thing.
Okay, why is there a sudden drop in the rates of breastfeeding? Is there an explanation for that?
So a couple of things could be considered as factors. Breastfeeding in general is something that we women, men, mothers, fathers all recognize as important for their wards. But one thing that is clear is that in the context of knowledge sharing and expertise, we have competing demands. Women have to go to work. Economic-wise, women have to deal with that, and employers sometimes do not provide the requisite environment to encourage them to continue breastfeeding their baby beyond their maternity leaves. For some persons, the maternity leave is so short that they don't have the necessary time to bond their babies and breastfeed long as soon as they want to, and are compelled to do other things to support. For some others, we also have societal pressures. Some people think and believe that supporting babies with infant formula and other kinds of food may make them healthier rather than exclusive breastfed. So knowledge, capacity building is sometimes a challenge for these mothers. But I believe that we'll get there with stakeholders' engagement and programs such as this. Mothers will understand that it pays more to breastfeed the baby, if possible, exclusively for the first 6 months and continue up to the first 2 years of life.
All right, Dr. Epundu. Are there implications of not breastfeeding a child exclusively for 6 months?
A couple of indications exist. While we preach that mothers should exclusively breastfeed the baby, I think it's important to understand, people to understand what exclusive breastfeeding really means. Because exclusive breastfeeding, by definition, means giving a baby breast milk only without water. or medications, unless otherwise were prescribed by a physician or a pediatrician. So, and the breast milk must be given on demand. Breast milk should be given on demand, and then without any other food being supportive, giving to the baby. So, the truth matter is that there are certain indications where the mother may not be able to breastfeed the baby, either exclusively or not breastfeed the baby at all. And in some instances, such as not being able to breastfeed the baby at all, it oftentimes comes with a couple of factors. One, maternal mortality. The mother dies while the baby, she won't be alive apparently to give breast to the baby. And in our environment, we don't have well-established breast milk banks or surrogate breastfeeding yet to support such babies. So infant formula may be part of the day. In some instances, the mother may have a that may make the baby unable to handle get the best from the breast milk expectedly accordingly.
All right, in your response, you mentioned that due to maternal mortality, due to the fact that some mothers are working, they need to resume work 3 months, not even 6 months after maternity leave. Is it possible to achieve exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months?
Yeah.
If there are factors put in, or if there are measures put in place, is it possible?
As it is, to achieve opportunities exist. One is that being able to utilize the time frame in how much as to do with your baby, actually express the breast milk and stop. So as much as the baby is with the mother, as long as the baby is with the mother, the baby should breastfeed directly. But the mother should prepare for when she's temporarily separated from the baby, so that kinds of thing. The breast is encouraged because of feeding, the baby is not able to breastfeed enough. She should express, not discard, express to stop, not express to discard. So there are also storage facilities that can be utilized. For instance, a breast milk that is stored in the freezer can stay as long as 3 months stored, and we'll be utilizing that appropriately. So these are the issues that can be considered.
All right, the one.
So of course,
okay, go ahead with your thought.
So I said, then of course, even if one doesn't want to utilize the option of storage in the freezer or refrigerator, the breast milk that is outside can still be stored for as long as 4 hours, and it will still be good. So it's temporarily going to be there for the baby for a period of 4 hours or so, which can express and keep, and then somebody else delivers that to the baby, and then she goes, and of course for a refrigerator it can stay for some days, and then that can actually last and support the baby in her absence.
There are some circumstances where some mothers do not or have the opportunity to breastfeed due to, let's say, security issues, vulnerable families, especially in IDPs. What measures or what programs or policies can be put in place to ensure that these people are integrated into this plan?
Well, it's a tough call for mothers that are separated from their babies, for instance, in such security situations. But when the mothers are with their babies, there should always be a priority given to mothers and children at all times. It's the natural law of consequence when it comes to discussions around security matters. That at all times, mothers and their infant children, in particular, and under 5, will always be given top priority. So when it comes to shelter codes and homes for vulnerable persons, they will always be given that consideration ahead of others. That's one. Then, of course, where we have Muslim mothers, amongst mothers that are not Muslim, their babies, Muslim mothers should also be given top priority and consideration in terms of comfort. Now, nutritional support for such mothers is very important, because it's only a healthy mother that is able to eat and have fluids and is not unwell that can breastfeed the baby. So if you are looking at a mother being able to breastfeed the baby appropriately, whatever policy that's being constructed must put that into consideration for such particular facilities. And then peradventure, you have pregnant women who eventually will be talking about delivering their babies. They will also be considered as well, because at some point they will deliver the baby and breastfeeding will become an issue as well. So being able to have them have that opportunity to take care of them properly and stay together well to ensure good bonding is very important. So we know it's usually a challenging and tough situation for every government and for every policy maker to consider this. But at dire times like this, dire restrictions and conditions must be provided to ensure that such dire restrictions are addressed. So I think yes, policies must incorporate well-being of the mother, must incorporate hygiene of the mother, must incorporate also bonding, provision of a shelter to keep mother and baby together. And in spite of the odds, we should also ensure that they are not separated as much as possible. So this thing should be put into perspective to enable good access breastfeeding for the baby.
All right, how do mothers living with HIV make up for this gap?
Yeah, so it's currently HIV is not a contraindication to breastfeeding. When we at the beginning, about 10 years ago, even less than that, at some point, there were a lot of resistance or hesitance when it came to matters relating to HIV and breastfeeding. Mm-hmm. But we have come to understand that that there was a double burden of mortality from being able to have inadequate breastfeeding, as well as leading to malnutrition, and of course having HIV by the side. So it's now currently the current practice is that, or the current trusted policy is that every mother that has the baby delivered from HIV positive mother has the option of breastfeeding the baby, and that should be encouraged, especially in an environment. But there are factors that should be, there are some conditions attached. Such a mother must have accepted her highly active antiretroviral medications before pregnancy and during the pregnancy, at least during pregnancy, and would have been given a full dose of medication so that the viral load should be well reduced, if possible, to the barest minimum. And then such a baby as well will be started on prophylaxis after delivery. Okay, so and she cannot combine such breastfeeding with other kinds of food. She cannot give infant formula and give breast milk at the same time because that increases the chances of having HIV from the breast milk. So and once she's done with exclusive breastfeeding, she stops abruptly and transits to other kinds of food. She cannot combine breast milk and any other thing at the same time. So these are some of the things we encourage mothers to put into perspective. And when she stops breastfeeding, after that, the baby will screened to confirm that the baby is still negative and free of HIV. So usually now we don't discourage, but rather encourage that you must be regular on your heart and your viral load that be dropped significantly, preferably before before the baby, so that you can commence breastfeeding accordingly.
All right, a major challenge to achieving exclusive breastfeeding now is instant formula. Can breast milk be substituted? Can it actually be substituted?
No, I can see even the infant formula makers also know that breast milk cannot be substituted in its entirety. They can only manage to mimic it. They also tell you that breast milk is the best. So because there are lots and lots of things in breast milk that you cannot manufacture in infant formula. For instance, in breast milk you have antibodies which protect the intestine from infection. There's no infant formula that can give you an antibody that contains antibodies for the baby. Even as we speak, the most advanced ones don't have antibodies in them. But then of course, we also have the unique nature of breast milk. The unique nature of breast milk is that as the baby, breast milk is a living food. It contains enzymes, it contains hormones, it contains stuff that the baby will get and improve the baby's well-being, apart from the nutrients that can be mimicked in infant formula.
All right, Dr. Nonso Epodu, the World Health Organization and UNICEF just issued a guideline to promote breastfeeding. Can you please give us an insight into that?
The important thing for us is to promote education of mothers and then support of the health system, while promoting encouraging appropriate practice by health workers. All these factors play major roles in ensuring that the breastfeeding as a practice is well protected in our environment. So yes, current guidelines by WHO, current guidelines by UNICEF, all promote breastfeeding as an exclusive right for the mother and an exclusive benefit for the baby. But then we also realize that there are issues, there are gaps in terms of education. So these guidelines deal with information, they deal with education, they deal with support, they deal with anchor of the support system that we have. Another thing also in the guideline that it tries to address is the environment, the community, the government. It tries to encourage government participation at all levels, advocacy at all levels, both the government and non-government actors coming in. And I think that's also part of where LTD comes in as a non-government actor in ensuring that that the needful is done in terms of advocacy and education of mothers. So the other thing also comes in terms of is the employer, the benefits available to mothers and level of the employers' working status, especially for working class mothers. So we are talking about encouragement of employers, whether private or non or public, to ensure that mothers are protected and breastfeeding as an act is also well protected. So health workers' involvement, health system strengthening, mothers' engagement, and then of course collaboration with both government and non-governmental actors at all levels.
Dr. Nonso Epodu, consultant pediatrician, thank you so much for your thoughts on breastfeeding. We really appreciate you.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate your show. Thank you.
All right, the first 1,000 days of any child starts with the colostrum. Miss it, miss gold. I've been speaking with Dr. Nonso Epodu, consultant pediatrician, on how to step up breastfeeding in Nigeria. Sound Health continues with Trending Health Report. Please stay tuned. It is still Sound Health on Lagos Television. More to come in a moment. is still Sound Health on Lagos Television. This is where we say thank you on today's episode of Sound Health. Remember, breast milk is life. It gives hope to any child's survival. It ends malnutrition. Why not start breastfeeding your child today? The first 1,000 days of any child is life. Start with the colostrum. If you miss it, you're missing gold. For comments and inquiries, please send SMS to 08035826603 or follow us on social media at LTV Social, #Sound Health. A sound health is a sound mind. Make healthy living your choice.